You have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you.
I get this sense of satisfaction and fulfillment when I help the needy. And this is something that I didn't just start today. It's something I've been into a better part of my life, because the Bible says that whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. And I believe in God, and I know that this world is a surgeon. So I want at the end of the day to go back home to my Creator, and that means making heaven. And I believe strongly that the things we're doing here will create that gateway.
Nothing seems to gladden the heart of Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano as much as uplifting the lots of the less privileged in our society, an act she has done for decades.
My wife and I used to helping the needy. This we've done for over 20 years. But, she would like to visit with my daughter to the less privileged. They will share the rice, give them clothes, and my daughter will come back excited that such a thing was going on.
Fondly called Osedieme, her passion for putting smiles on otherwise sad faces started years ago as a private citizen and has continued till date, complementing the various welfare programs of her husband, Chief Willie Obiano, the governor of Anambra State, through her foundation, the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE. With the creation of CAFE, Osedieme has stepped up her philanthropic activities in helping the needy. She has championed the education and empowerment of the less privileged in Anambra through her various empowerment programs. One of the first acts of charity by Mrs. Obiano, shortly after her husband, Akpoko Edike, assumed office as governor of Anambra State in 2014, was at Basden Special Education School, Isulo, Orumba South, where her intervention ensured the transformation of Basden from a dilapidated and forgotten school for the physically challenged, hearing and visually impaired, to a modern, habitable academic environment. First, she constructed a borehole to supply water. She facilitated through the Ministry of Education the total overhaul and refurbishing of the school infrastructure, improvement in students' upkeep per head, and upgrades to secondary school, thus ensuring that the graduates are able to progress and pursue tertiary education. Osedieme makes regular stopover at Basden to ensure that the children receive adequate attention. Deeply worried about the plight of indigent widows in the state, Mrs. Obiano instituted the Cafe Housing for Indigent Widows. This is born out of the need to help the helpless by putting a roof over their heads.
I believe that if I give an indigent widow a roof over her head, I have actually met almost 90% of her needs, because you need a decent roof over your head to be able to think, well. That's the only time you can think properly of how you're going to help yourself, what you can do to support your children. So I felt that giving these women a roof over their heads would go a long way to solving their problems.
In Enugu to Aguleri, Anambra East local government area, octogenarian Mrs. Nnewowa Wajidonfo now lives in this beautiful bungalow built and donated by Cafe. Next to the new house, the relics of our mud house serves as a reminder of what was. The only access to this community was by crossing River Omambala with this rickety pontoon. Now, with the completion of the longest bridge embarked upon by the Obiano-led administration, the hassles of commuting to and fro Enugu to and environs is a thing of the past. Another octogenarian, Helen Okafor from Amatutu village in Agolo, recounts her joy over her new house. Mrs. Chinyako Keke, mother of 5 from Ebenato village, Amici, recounts her blessings and the effects of the new house on her children.
Since Nona, Mary knew or Mary Honyan me will be angry. I want to mess with Ebelechukwu. I want to mess with Ebelechukwu. Nay, now, more be Ebelechukwu, Buchimon fly and what? As though we were Maya no dear would keep many men by this time. Ya Epubia, that we are governor, will he care? Ebatabem, Yalwamono, Ama because of no here, Mango Tenia, or Borea Mamma and a government, Amahamonio, Amahamonio.
Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, on March 30, 2016, fulfilled her promise to a widow, late Mrs. Chidili Iwamalo, when she commissioned and handed over a 2-bedroom bungalow at Isioye village, Umunya, Oyi local government area. Her Excellency was sad that the widow had passed on just before its completion. However, the house was handed over to the late widow's daughter-in-law, who ironically is also a widow. In Nri, another local government area, Mrs. Catherine Ibekwe, who lost her husband recently, reacting to her new house, says it is a dream come true.
Maybe I'm name one.
In full glare of the jubilant people of Obo family, Oka North local government area, Mrs. Obiano commissioned the newly completed house.
This house belongs to her and whoever she allows in here. So on that note, I hand over the keys of this house to you. God bless.
The beneficiary, Mrs. Jacinta Ofonyalo, who used to live in a dilapidated mud hut, couldn't hide her joy when she received the keys to her new house.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
There are 10 houses completed and handed over in the first phase of the Cafe Housing Project for Indigent Widows, funded by donations by well-meaning Anambra, while others are still under construction across the 3 senatorial zones of Anambra State.
You know, when I started this thing privately, I use my 10% of my income. My husband also contributes, but as the wife of the governor, of course I don't have a constitutional office, so there's no any budget allocation to the wife of the governor. How I able to do these things is by, you know, what I get from philanthropists, from the good people of Anambra. A lot of people contribute whatever they can.
Osodieme exhibited her compassion and generosity when she was informed of the lack of clean potable water in Omasi, Ayamelum local government area. The people, especially women, can be seen fetching unhealthy water for domestic use. Chief Ebelechukwu swung into action and paid a visit to see things for herself. Under the Cafe Water Project, she offered the installation of a borehole which was reticulated through the community. There are in total 20 other boreholes across another 20 local governments in the state, built by Cafe to provide clean water to rural communities.
Omasiono's case is a very pathetic one. And when I got there, I almost wept. People were just, you see the cans, the line of cans, and I heard that they've now shared it that families or villages would, have dates or days that they fetch water. So I decided that I'm going to, stop that. I mean, they are human beings. What is life without water? You need to drink water to live. You need to bathe to, to have a good life. You need water to cook. How do they exist? And that was what, spurred me to, render my assistance.
To promote hygiene in the marketplaces, preserve the dignity of the rural woman, and help forestall the incident of communicable airborne diseases, the Cafe Market Toilets Project is providing conveniences, which include facilities for both female and male with a borehole to supply water. These are being executed in select rural markets in communities across the 3 senatorial districts of Anambra State. So far, 11 toilets have been built in various communities, including Main Market Onitsha, and there are more under construction in some other rural markets in the state.
We have lots and lots of diseases kill innocent people. These are diseases, these are incidents, these are things that we can easily handle by doing what I'm doing right now. These are things we can cope by doing exactly what I'm doing right now, providing the, where people can ease themselves. I can assure you that by the time we have restrooms in virtually all the markets in our state and our country at large, you'll be able to bring down these infectious diseases. You improve the hygienic conditions of our people, thereby cutting down or total eradication of these diseases, these killer diseases that we can, conveniently and easily curb.
The first time she talked about it, I sat down and said, how did she get this inspiration, this vision? And how did she get to share this vision with people that are sponsoring the facilities? So I thought about using the word humanness. I didn't think it was enough. I thought about love, how lovely she is, how she radiates love to the people, because it's not easy for you to begin to think about other people and begin to do things out of the way for them. And I just like, maybe I should go back to the dictionary and find the correct adjective to describe who and what I see in her.
Another major achievement worth mentioning is the huge successes of the Cafe Skills Acquisition Program. Chief Mrs. Obiano's commitment to uplifting the fortunes of women at all levels is very well known across the state. Through Cafe, she is complementing the state's vocation program by providing skills training in tailoring and fashion designing, bakery and confectionery, soap making, hairdressing, cosmetology and beauty therapy, as well as community health services to promote self-health practices in hard-to-reach areas. After the training, the graduates are empowered with equipment in their chosen fields and also giving seed money to take off and make a living.
I am a widow, so that was why I joined them, the trainees. After the training, she gave us a gas cooker, a very big gas cooker with oven and cash to start the job. So, and the thing just gave me the zeal to start the job. Since then, my children, they have entered school this session. But before, they were staying at home with me. But since I started this job now, they have started school again. And we are able to eat at least 3 square meals every day. Yes.
She is really also Osodieme entirely. No, she's trying for many people, the widows that don't have anything doing, and those other people, the people that have husband but they don't have any handwork. As she gather us here, we are learning a lot from her, and for what we are learning, people will use it to grow, we use it to train our children, and we use it to reach our neighbors. I thank God for her efforts. She is trying for we, the people that don't have, the widows and people that don't have.
CAFE normally collaborate with us by giving us some quota, so being women from different communities who are in need of these skills. At the end of it all, the same CAFE empowers these women by giving them oven, machines, genset for their hairdressing and what have you. And so in terms of skill acquisition and empowerment, CAFE has really worked with the Ministry of Women Affairs to ensure that a certain percentage of Anambra women now can be economically independent.
CAFE's empowerment program is a huge success story, as they have trained and empowered well over 2,600 in the Anambra in various disciplines. Some of the beneficiaries are currently employers of labor or transferring their skills to others. But more importantly, Mrs. Obiano has given them a new lease of life.
Our needs. Verse 19. Also that we will supply our needs according to our riches in glory. Also, God will supply your needs in Jesus' name.
Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano has put smiles on the faces of 45 children and adults with cleft lip, cleft palate abnormalities. Under the program, persons with congenital deformities are sponsored to free surgeries in collaboration with the Smile Train International. This has given the beneficiaries a sense of belonging in the society.
How na die isolate? So nobody carry the baby from her mother. Everybody now worry the child also. But now, when you find out what is na rush zia amade no anya no yin was na kwa chickens. Amara zia no chickens.
Ngba abịarizi ana m akwa mana mụ mechele mụazi amụ mana nwere ihe memute ka Ebelechukwu nwere ge memute odi a ọpụta na ndị nwere ego n'ebe ka nkụ mana o nwere mmelian mana Ebele bụ onye nile obi mmenya.
Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano's compassion and love for children comes to the fore on information of unwanted babies. As a standing instruction, Her Excellency's Foundation promptly rescues them and sends them to motherless babies' homes in the state where they receive qualitative health care and attention. CAFE has also continued to support various orphanages in the state through donations. CAFE also supports maternal and child health by promoting measures to reduce mortality rate for mother and child in communities across Anambra State. Osodieme embarks on periodic assessment visits to primary healthcare centers, PHCs, in the state. This is to ensure availability and access to quality, preventive and primary health care for all children, as well as reproductive health care for women. During her frequent visits to primary health centers, Mrs. Obiano counsels pregnant women on the need to get proper and adequate antenatal treatment. Cafe gives out delivery kits called mama kits, diapers, clothing materials, as well as stipends to the women. In the same vein, the physically challenged in Anambra State has benefited from the benevolence of Cafe, as Chief Mrs. Obiano sponsors a prosthetic limbs clinic. The program was flagged off in December 2014. In its fourth stage, Cafe has positively improved the mobility of over 1,300 physically challenged persons, both indigenes and non-indigenes, receiving artificial limbs, all for free. Also, Cafe periodically donates mobility aids like wheelchairs and crutches to the physically challenged in the state. No less profound is the home for the mentally challenged, set up by Cafe and run in collaboration with the Ministry of Social Welfare, Children and Women's Affairs. The 77-bed facility with male and female wards has treated and discharged 62 inmates. The discharged inmates from different states of the country received post-recovery rehabilitation empowerment. Some of the discharged inmates were deemed missing for over 10 years. But the case of 62-year-old Mrs. Rose Anene was remarkable because when she reunited with her family after her recovery, it was discovered she had been missing for 35 years and presumed dead.
It's an abandoned building that is being put to use by this administration, especially Cafe, again, the wife of the governor. And a lot of them, after 1 month or 2 months in the Integer Rehabilitation Center, find their feet again. And a lot of them are rehabilitated to become tailors and to do other professions. It's a wonderful program. It's the kind of program you see from Reverend Fathers. But this woman is doing it and doing it flawlessly.
In a similar vein, and in keeping faith with the tenets of our NGO, Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, in company of the Catholic Archbishop of Onitsha Archdiocese, Most Reverend Dr. Valerian Okeke, visited the inmates of Onitsha prisons, bearing gifts of various food items. Here, she promised to provide empowerment support to any inmate who excels at the Skills Acquisition Center planned for the facility by the Catholic Archbishop of Onitsha. Mrs. Obiano is a mobilizer of women, especially those in the rural areas. This is demonstrated by the large turnout of Anambra, especially Umada, each time she tours the 21 local government areas of the state on her advocacy visits, thanking them for their overwhelming support during the gubernatorial elections and met her husband, the governor of Anambra State. In recognition of her philanthropic efforts, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano has been appointed the Water, Sanitation and Health WASH Ambassador of the European Union and UNICEF, honored with the 2016 Excellent Award by Nigerian Women Association of Atlanta, Georgia, USA. To crown it all, the state of Georgia, USA, awarded Osodieme the status of an honorary citizen of Georgia, and most recently, she was given the Most Valuable Governor's Wife Award in Nigeria for her commitment to charity, especially care for the mentally challenged and those living with disabilities. Her uncommon love for the less privileged in our society stands her out as a rare gem worthy of emulation. As Her Excellency Chief Ebelechukwu Obiano Osodieme labors to complement the efforts of her husband, Governor Willie Madaburochukwu Obiano, there is no doubt that her commitment to charity through Cafe is unequivocal. So, it is not surprising that at every opportunity, she reiterates the clarion call for more hands to be on deck to uplift the fortunes of less privileged Anambra.
The Cafe, you must know, is a non-governmental body. You know, Anambra State government has no nothing to do with cafe. The funding comes largely from Friends of Indianambra. On my own, I put in my monthly salary as governor into cafe. I don't touch it. I just donate it to the less privileged.
I would like to use this opportunity to, plead with the good people of Anambra, the good people of Nigeria. It doesn't have to come from the Anambra alone for us to build Anambra. For the good people of Nigeria to help, support this my organization so we can better touch, lives.
Generator, hey, on your lazy way, go kind when over. Imanobo, one neck, oh, yeah. Iyoko, yeah. Selele, abu bona,